The rain hammered against the windows of our Charleston home, mirroring the storm raging inside me. For 20 years, Anselm, a mechanic by trade, had loved Evangeline with every fiber of my being. We built a life here, brick by brick, dream by dream. We had two wonderful children, now grown and starting their own families, and I thought we were happy. Foolishly, blissfully happy. It started subtly. Evangeline, a respected history professor at the local university, began working late more often. Grading papers, she'd say, her smile a little too bright, her eyes avoiding mine. I shrugged it off. Professors worked hard, right? I trusted her implicitly. That was my biggest mistake. The first real crack appeared on a Tuesday afternoon. I'd finished early at the garage and decided to surprise Evangeline with lunch. I drove to the university, a brown bag containing her favorite fried chicken sandwich on the passenger seat. I walked into the history department, the familiar scent of old books comforting. "Evangeline Morrow?" I asked the young woman at the reception desk. "She's in a meeting with Professor Caldwell," the woman replied with a polite smile. "I can let her know you're here when they're done. Professor Caldwell." The name struck a discordant note. I knew most of the professors in her department, and that name hadn't come up. "Is that a new professor?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "He's been here for a few months," she said. "Very charming man, Dr. Caldwell. Evangeline seems to be working with him a lot lately." I thanked her and sat down in the waiting area, the fried chicken suddenly feeling like lead in my stomach. 30 minutes stretched into an hour. Finally, the door opened and Evangeline emerged, her face flushed. Behind her was a man I'd never seen before. He was tall, with silver hair and piercing blue eyes. He had a hand on the small of her back. "Anselm," Evangeline exclaimed, her eyes widening in surprise. "What are you doing here?" "I brought you lunch," I said, my voice tight. I looked at the man beside her. "And you must be Professor Caldwell." He extended his hand. "Please call me Theron, and you are—" "Anselm, Evangeline's husband." Theron's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "Ah, yes. Evangeline has told me so much about you." The air crackled with an unspoken tension. I handed Evangeline the lunch bag. "I should get back to the garage," I said. "I'll see you at home." The unease gnawed at me for the rest of the week. I found myself watching Evangeline more closely, noticing the way she'd subtly change her perfume, the way she'd linger over her appearance in the mirror. One evening, while she was in the shower, I did something I'm not proud of. I picked up her phone. It was password protected, of course, but I knew her password. Our anniversary. My heart hammered in my chest as I typed in the numbers. The phone unlocked. I went straight to her messages. There it was, a thread with Theron C. My hands trembled as I opened it. The messages were explicit, graphic, heartbreaking. "I can't stop thinking about you," one message from Theron read. "These stolen moments are all I live for." Evangeline's reply: "I feel alive when I'm with you. It's like I've been sleepwalking my whole life." Sleepwalking? What about me? What about our life together? I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. The phone slipped from my fingers and clattered to the floor. I stumbled out of the bedroom, gasping for air. The world seemed to spin around me. Evangeline came out of the bathroom, her face damp. "Anselm, what's wrong?" she asked, concern etched on her face. I couldn't speak. I just pointed to the phone on the floor. Followed my gaze, her face paling as she realized what I'd done. "Anselm," she began, her voice trembling, "I can explain." "Explain," I roared, my voice cracking. "Explain how you could do this to me, to us, to our family." She started to cry. "It just happened," she sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to happen." "Didn't mean for it to happen," I repeated, incredulous. "You were sending him messages about how he makes you feel alive, about how you've been sleepwalking your whole life." She didn't say anything. She just stood there, tears streaming down her face, the silence deafening. That night I slept on the couch. The next morning I went to see a lawyer. Elias, a friend of mine since high school. I told him everything. He listened patiently, his face grim. "I'm sorry, Anselm," he said. "This is a tough situation, but we'll get you through it." The divorce was ugly. Evangeline fought me every step of the way. She claimed I was controlling, that I never appreciated her, that the affair was my fault. It was a classic case of blame shifting, trying to make herself the victim. But I had the messages, I had the proof. And Elias was a bulldog in the courtroom. The judge granted me the divorce and I got the house. Evangeline moved into a small apartment near the university. I tried to move on. I threw myself into my work, spending long hours at the garage fixing cars, anything to keep my mind occupied. But the pain was always there, a dull ache in my chest. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I lost weight. My friends tried to help, but nothing seemed to make a difference. I felt like a part of me had died. Then one day I received a letter. It was from a woman named Beatrice Caldwell. I didn't recognize the name. I opened it with trepidation. "Dear Anselm," it began. "My husband Theron is having an affair with your wife, Evangeline. I have proof. I would like to meet with you." I stared at the letter in disbelief. Theron was married. I called Beatrice immediately. Her voice was weary, defeated. We arranged to meet at a small cafe downtown. When I saw her, I was taken aback. She was beautiful, with kind eyes and a gentle smile, but her face was etched with sadness. We sat down and she told me her story. She and Theron had been married for 15 years. They had 2 children. He had been distant for months, always working late, always traveling. She had suspected something was going on, but she couldn't prove it. Until now. She showed me emails, text messages, even photos. The evidence was damning. Theron and Evangeline were deeply involved. "I'm so sorry," I said, my voice choked with emotion. "I had no idea." "Neither did I," she said, "until recently." We sat in silence for a moment, 2 strangers united by betrayal. Then Beatrice looked at me, her eyes hardening. "I'm not going to let him get away with this," she said. "Are you?" And that's when we hatched a plan. A plan to expose Theron and Evangeline, to reveal their lies and deceit to the world. Beatrice had access to Theron's university email account. She forwarded me all of his emails with Evangeline, as well as emails detailing his corrupt dealings with university funds. He was embezzling money, using it to fund their lavish dates and weekend getaways. I took the information to the university president. He was shocked and appalled. He launched an immediate investigation. Theron was suspended and eventually fired. The police got involved and he was charged with fraud and embezzlement. His reputation was ruined. His career was over. He was a pariah. Beatrice filed for divorce. She got custody of the children and a hefty settlement. She started a new life, free from Theron's lies and manipulation. As for Evangeline, she was devastated by Theron's downfall. She lost her job at the university, her reputation tarnished by association. She was ostracized by her colleagues and friends. One afternoon, about a year after the divorce, I was working in my garage when I heard a knock on the door. It was Evangeline. She looked gaunt, her eyes hollow. "Anselm," she said, her voice barely a whisper, I need your help." I stared at her, my heart pounding in my chest. "What do you want, Evangeline?" I asked, my voice cold. "I'm sick," she said. "I have cancer, and I don't have any money for treatment." I looked at her, my mind reeling. Cancer, Evangeline. The woman who had betrayed me, who had broken my heart, was now begging me for help. I should have turned her away. I should have slammed the door in her face, but I couldn't. Despite everything, I still cared about her. We had a history. We had a family. I couldn't just abandon her to die. "Come in," I said, my voice resigned. She stepped inside, her eyes filled with gratitude. I knew I was making a mistake. I knew she didn't deserve my help, but I couldn't help myself. I was a fool, a loving, forgiving fool, and that was my curse. I helped her get the treatment she needed. I paid for her medical bills. I visited her in the hospital. I even forgave her, not completely, but enough to ease the pain. She eventually recovered, but the experience changed her. She was humbled, remorseful. She apologized for what she had done, for the pain she had caused. I accepted her apology, but I knew things would never be the same. I never remarried. I never found anyone who could replace Evangeline despite what she did. Perhaps I was afraid of being hurt again. Or maybe I just couldn't let go of the past. I'll never know. But I do know this: betrayal leaves a scar that never fully heals. It changes you. It hardens you. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about love and trust. And sometimes the only way to survive is to forgive, even when you don't want to.